Hello friends, welcome once again to Rick's Garage. Today I'm replacing the struts on this 2006 Altima. As you can see, I've already got this side done. I ran into some severe problems though trying to do the other side. I wasn't initially going to bother with making a video on this job. It's pretty straightforward. However, since I ran into trouble on the other side, I thought some of you might benefit from a video should the same thing happen to you. The problem I ran into the other side is you can see this bolt goes through the knuckle. There's a bushing in there, and the nut is actually welded to the strut itself. So what happened on the other side is this bolt was frozen in the bushing, and when I tried to unbolt it, I snapped this nut off, and it created a real dilemma for me, and I'll show you what I did to resolve it. Let me start out by showing you the replacement bushing. It has a steel outer case, a steel inner case, and then it has a rubber membrane sandwiched in between. And then you have your bolt that goes through it that holds the strut. This would be similar to this. This would be in the middle, this would go through, and it would screw into that nut. Now the problem is that on the old part, I'll show it to you, I have here the old bushing. You can see what the problem is. This bolt is frozen inside this inner core of the bushing. It's totally frozen. There's no way you're going to get that out of there. And when I attempted to unbolt it, I snapped the head of this bolt off, as you can see here. And it was quite a dilemma because the nut is welded to the bracket. So there's no way you can turn that to get it out. So the only alternative to getting this out was, if you can see the old strut, I took a saw and reciprocating what they call them, a sawzall, with a metal blade, and I cut off this part of the bracket. Then that allowed me to get a wrench on the nut, and I was able to turn the entire bracket, the piece of bracket that I had cut off. And that was the only way you were going to get it done. Then I took a hammer and I just pounded this back through it, fracturing that rubber membrane, and got the center part out. And then I was able to order the new part. The new part, this is the part number, I don't know if you can see it, it's 56219-JA00A. It costs about $11 at the Nissan dealer. Also, I got a new bolt for it. So anyway, that was the situation. If you snap the head of this bolt off, you're going to have to cut this bracket and then get a wrench on this nut, and then turn the entire bracket that remains, and then you can get it off. You might have to put a pair of vice grips on the end of this right here to prevent the whole thing from turning. And so now the next thing I got to do, this outer case is still in the knuckle, and that's a press fit, so I've got to press that out somehow. You're looking at my bushing press kit. This is a new kit. It costs about $120. It comes with these nice hardened rods and these ball bearing nuts for pressing out bushings. It also comes with all these different size cones and these covers. I'm not going to be able to use this entire kit because these rods are too long and the muffler is in the way. I don't want to take the muffler off. So, and I don't want to cut one of the rods just yet. I may wind up cutting them later on. But for now, I'm going to use a grade 8 threaded rod in place of this, a little bit shorter. And I found a cone that fits over the bushing. You see, the bushing has to fit inside a cone. This one's too small, but I did find one. I've already got it installed on the car that will fit inside. This has to fit inside, and what you're actually doing is you're going to be pressing the bushing into this cup with the cover on it. So I'm going to use one of those, and I'm not going to use a rod because I don't want to cut them at this point. Okay, this is a setup I came up with to press out this bushing. I have a cylinder from the kit that's larger than the outside diameter of the bushing I'm pressing out. I have a grade 8 threaded rod going through the center. I wound up with a washer, a big thick washer on this side that is just slightly smaller than the outside diameter of this bushing. I tried a socket, but the socket seemed to twist. It didn't seem to want to do the job. So it looks like this setup is going to work. So we're going to try it. I got a wrench on this side right now. At some point I'm going to have to change to a deep socket because it'll be going inside the bore. I won't be able to hold on to it too long, but I just want to get it started this way. So let's see how this works. Well, it feels like something's moving. It appears to be working. I can see the washer disappearing inside the knuckle, so I'm having trouble holding it, so I'm going to let it get on here, and we'll just keep turning it as long as we can. But it looks like it's pressing out nicely. Looks like this threaded rod is doing the job. You can see where, if I turn the camera just slightly, you can see where my muffler is in the way. That's why I couldn't use the long threaded rod that came with the kit. And I did not want to cut it. But it seems to be, something seems to be moving anyway. Like I say, at some point I'll have to put a socket on the other end here because this nut is going to disappear inside the bore of the knuckle. But it seems to be moving. You can see this is disappearing inside the bore, so, but the whole thing turns. So I'll give it a few more turns with this, and I'll have to change this over to a socket because this is going to disappear inside the bore. It was a real tough job. This simple thing like changing the strut, and something that you might tell a customer would take about an hour, and you wind up spending 2 days on it because of a strip, a frozen bolt. All right, I'm going to pause the camera now, and I'm going to get a socket to fit in there. That's as far as I can go with the wrench. All right, I'm back. I've got a deep socket with a breaker bar on the other end, so now I can stay with this thing as long as I need to get it pressed out. It seems to be turning easier and easier, so it must be coming out. Then we'll have the fun of trying to press the new one in. Alright, looks like we're through. Yep. Okay, so that was a success. We managed to push out the broken piece of bushing. I found the best way to get the new bushing in is to tap it in. It's really difficult with the kit because the threaded rod is larger than the inside diameter of the new bushing. So I've lubricated the knuckle with lithium grease, and I've got a socket that fits over the center part of the bushing, and I'm just attempting to As you recall, when I just left you moments ago, I was attempting to tap the bushing in, and I was having some limited success with that, but I couldn't go any further than what it is now. It will not budge. So I have to use the kit to press it in the rest of the way. This is my setup. I got a socket about the same size as the bushing. I wound up having to use the threaded rod in the kit because the threaded rod I was using 3/8 wouldn't fit through the bushing, so I wound up cutting one of the rods in the kit so I could use it. I hated to do that, but it looks like they made them extra long so you could cut them if you need to. So anyway, this is the setup. I've got a socket the same size as the bushing. I've got a big flat washer on the other side to pull it in. You may have noticed I stuck a little washer in here. The problem is this side of the knuckle is on a taper and I want it to remain straight, so I just put a little washer in there so it'll stay straight. So we're ready to attempt to push this in the rest of the way. Let's see how it goes. Looks like it's going in very easily. Probably should have done it this way in the first place. I shouldn't have been afraid to cut the thing that came with the kit. Just there were too many things in the way. So this is going in very nicely, and I'm ashamed of myself that I attempted to tap it in the first place. You might have to tap it in a little bit just to get it started, it looks like I may have to go to a deep socket here. I'm running out of space, so if you'll bear with me for 1 second, I'll go get a deep socket. All in all, this has been a hellish job. I've been delayed about a week waiting for this kit to come in that I ordered, and then found out that I had limited use of it. So anyway, I may well never use it again, so I don't really care that I had to cut one of the threaded rods. But we're almost there. Probably close enough now, but I just want to make it flush with this surface here. Alright, that looks like as far as it's going to go. As you can see, the new bushing finally has been pressed in, and the strut can now be installed. It's a shame that a job you plan on doing in an hour or so winds up taking you all day. In this case, it delayed me a week or more because I had to wait for that new kit to come in. So that's all I've got. Hopefully this was helpful if you do run into a rusted bolt or a frozen bolt. Thanks for watching. See you next time.